He decided to burn off the oxidization of his fish tackle box in the dining room table.
Welcome to our channel. We are the Montana Family Homestead.
This container here is what we use to get milk from the barn and carry it into the house. It's a stainless steel container. It has got this little locking mechanism on it, seals and everything. But today we do not have milk in it. We have some real maple syrup from the state of New York. There's somebody that moved out here. Before they moved out, they asked the community, does anybody want some maple syrup? For quite a bit cheaper than what we can buy it around here, I might add.
From one of their friends, must
we
be.
got a bunch of gallons. We got 10 gallons of it.
10 gallons of pure organic maple syrup.
You know what they say, make hay while the sun shines, and when you get an opportunity like that, you better jump on it because it's not going to last. I remember lots of times carrying this out to the barn, opening up the bottom valve of the bulk tank, filling it up with milk, and bringing it back. And then later, when we didn't have cows, we would take this over to the neighbors and kind of did the same thing. We paid them a small fee for being able to get whole milk straight out of their bulk tank. Yeah, I just wanted to hop on here and maybe talk about a few of the comments. I was reading through them and someone asked, well, does your husband not have a workshop concerning me burning the oxidization off of my tackle box on Christmas morning?
It was Christmas morning, and Eric walks in with his tackle box and what was it?
It was a torch.
A torch.
I thought
when
it was.
we were ready to open gifts.
It looked like it was going to be just like a 20-30 second project, and boom, it was going to be new. It turned into a long ordeal that didn't work.
We all sat around waiting until he tried to deoxidize his old tackle box.
Yeah.
But it had to be on Christmas morning on my table just before we opened gifts. I think your mind was on ice fishing. We should have been on opening gifts. You know,
that was my gift.
the old oxidized fishing tackle.
Make it look new. Doesn't take much to satisfy
So
a
that's
guy.
what Marvin loves. He likes to make old things and make them new again. That's what he likes. For me, I'm the kind of person, pitch it and go buy a new one. But he will try to patch it up, do what it takes to...
If you're patient, you can save money. For example, I still don't have permanent power, like buried wire going out to my shop. I've been checking prices, and it would cost me $1,900 just to buy the wire, plus probably renting a trencher. I was thinking if I'm patient, sooner or later somebody on Marketplace will have the correct wire that I need to run it out there. Twice within the last month and a half I thought I had it. One was 10 feet short. I went out, remeasured everything, 10 foot short. The other night I saw a post on Marketplace that had 40 extra feet of wire, 40 more feet than what I need. I need 160 feet. This person had 200 feet. So I messaged them, when and where can I pick this up? Well, they set up an appointment the next morning, and someone else was also wanted it pretty bad, but thankfully the person who had it
waited on you.
Waited on me. So instead of paying $1,900, I paid $450.
I guess it pays to be patient. How long did you keep checking Marketplace?
For the last year and a half, every so often. Some people get a big bang out of buying something brand new. What makes me click is buying something old and restoring it or fixing it, getting more life out of it.
Even if it takes a year and a half of waiting, checking Marketplace to see if there's somebody selling their old wire.
Getting back to this we had when we grew up on the farm. I got this at my dad's when we divvied up all my dad's stuff after about a year after he passed. There were 10 of us. There's a lot of items that we had on the farm that got divvied up amongst our siblings. Where we had 2 butter churns. We had one that was probably about this big around. It was wooden.
Oh, it was a wooden butter churn.
A wooden butter churn. It was quite the thing for a little Amish boy to sit there and watch the cream. We'd open it up and watch it, and all of a sudden it would start to curdle, and the cream and the whey would start to separate, and we had butter. And then later we had a square one that held about 2 gallons of milk, I think. and it had a different paddle. It was kind of interesting to watch that. But that stuff all got divvied up amongst our siblings.
We went to visit his parents many times, and then one day his dad is gone.
Mary never did get to meet my mom. My mom passed away before Mary ever met her. We just got word a couple days ago about my Uncle Melvin. We just received word that he passed away, 84 years old. He was one of those guys that wherever he was, there was never a dull moment. He did taxi work for a lot of the Amish people in northern Indiana. He made multiple trips up to Alaska, like every year. He would go up there for a lot of years, sometimes more than once per year. And he has a book. It's called Adventures Down the Highway. Uncle Mel was one of those guys that basically didn't have any strangers.
Yeah.
He was one of those
He
guys
was
that...
so fun. He was at our wedding.
He was very hyper, high energy.
Yeah.
And he was a phenomenal storyteller.
Yes.
Just a
Marvin
phenomenal story.
is also a great storyteller. Yeah. I'm not so much, but Marvin can sit there and just out of the blue say a story. It's interesting.
I remember lots of times he was in northern Indiana and he would haul Amish people up to our community, and then he would hang out at our place for the weekend because people would come up to visit, maybe for weddings or baptismal services or just for visiting.
Mm-hmm. And you were still Amish, right?
Yeah.
And he was not Amish, but he would hang out at your house.
Very conservative Mennonite. I remember distinctly one time he said he's bringing somebody up, and of course our doors were always open. He had an issue going on with his van that the front wheels he was suspicious it was the rotors were off balance. Ended up, his wheel bearings were loose. We went out to the shed that night, turned the lights on, jacked the front end of his van up, took the wheels off, and I got my dad's tools around. My dad was not home that particular weekend. I'm not sure I don't know where he was. I just remember he was there. And I helped him work on his van. We took it on a test run, and he's like, yeah, it's a lot better now. It still does a little bit, but he was pretty concerned that it was not safe.
Yeah, well, that could be dangerous.
Interesting thing about Uncle Melvin. It was in the early summer of 1990, we got word that he has stomach cancer. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He's going to die pretty soon. He was living a very unhealthy diet at that time. He went to the doctor here in the U.S., went to some doctors, and he just started doing his own research, and all of a sudden he made up his mind that he's not going to go the chemical treatment way in the States. He was in a ward, I think he said, with 5 other guys that all had the same issue. And he told his doctor that I'm checking out. Like, what are you going to do? Is I'm going to go to Mexico and deal with this with natural remedies. And his doctor got really, really angry with him. But he went. I think they took like 2/3 or 3/4 of his stomach out. He had stomach cancer. I'm not sure what all surgery they did. I was 10 years old at the time.
And he changed his diet.
Changed his diet.
And whatever they did in Mexico, they obviously did something right.
Yeah.
Because he comes back.
So
And did he go back to his doctor?
He went back to see the guys
that had some
that he was in the ward with, and within a year and a half, every one of them had passed away. None of them survived.
Yeah.
This was 1990. That was 35 years ago. He survived 35 years, led a full life.
Yes.
And I remember him saying that when he got done with the surgery, they had taken so much of his stomach out, he'd be really hungry. He'd eat 2-3 bites, and he was so full, because his stomach was so small. So he had to keep eating, just continuously eat 6, 8, 10 times a day, depending on what he was doing, because his stomach just wouldn't hold.
Yeah, because they had to take out so much.
And he did a complete 180 with his diet. He was extremely health-minded after that.
Yes.
Before, he kind of ate junk food.
I have to thank modern medicine and natural remedies, but most of all, I contribute it to God and His healing,
but
and His protection.
He felt that this is what he needed to do. I'm not saying this is for everyone, but he felt that this was the way that he needed to deal with this. I have many, many memories of Uncle Mel. While my Uncle Mel did taxi work for the Amish, my dad was a buggy builder, and this time of year was when he would start filling orders for buggies. He was a farmer by trade, but the farm work gets really slow in the wintertime, and he had a shop, and so he started, I think before I was born, he would take orders and he'd build buggies. And I remember many times he would go out after supper and he would work a couple hours just to get a start on it, because he was like, oh, he's going to get started. And he would build it. The first thing he would build would be the box at the bottom. I don't know the dimensions. They were approximately maybe 6 feet long and 3 foot wide.
Did your dad have like patterns he went by? Because it would be great.
He had
to
the
get
measurements.
Measurements.
He had the
and
measurements,
patterns.
I think, written down on a piece of paper, but he built so many of them. I think he knew all the measurements.
Hon, it would be amazing. His dad built buggies all his growing up years.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that you didn't get into that. So if you ever wondered who built the buggies, I'm sure his dad wasn't the only one, but he built a lot of them. I think it would be so awesome if we could find one of your dad's buggies.
My dad was a farmer by trade. He was a self-taught carpenter with woodworking. The stuff he built was super strong. The area he didn't quite excel in as much was the fine finishing, sanding everything down so everything was perfect. But it was strong. It was
strong. Maybe not.
Yeah, like his stuff.
Every detail perfection.
There were buggies that would get in wrecks and they were completely total. But if some of the buggies that my dad built were being wrecked, they would be repairable. They were heavier and they were built super, super strong. My dad would build the actual buggy, but he did not build the wheels. And he did not build what we call the shafts.
But could you order those?
Those, I remember he ordered those.
Oh,
And
wow.
he would buy the wheels, the axles, and the parts that would, like the running gear, the chassis and everything.
So he would order all that?
Those he would buy.
Okay.
And there were people that would come around. There's these huge manufacturing places in like Ohio and Pennsylvania where my dad would order this stuff. Where all they do is build buggy wheels and build the shafts.
Wow.
What are they called? Are they called the shafts?
Shafts.
That's what we used to call them.
Yeah.
So they'd show up and he'd get a whole bunch of wheels and the likes, everything for the chassis, the springs, whatever. And
So when he sold them, do you remember how much he got for the buggies he made? Did he make all one size? Did he have different sizes?
there were two sizes.
Okay.
Well, the two main sizes. One was a single top buggy. The other one was an open top buggy. No, it was a single and a double. He built. I don't ever remember him building an open buggy because we lived in the north. We all had enclosed. The tops were all enclosed. I do remember he built a few carts, which is a 2-wheel cart. Hook a horse up to it, run the town. Don't have to have the big buggy. Open summertime use. And I ended up using that one quite a bit because it was lighter, didn't wear the horse out as much, just getting to and from. Like the softball bats and gloves would fit underneath the seat. First year I was out of school. And this was weird, driving past the school, and here were all the grades lower than me out at recess playing. Well, I got this idea just on the whim. As soon as the school came in sight, I saw recess was in session. So I ducked all the way down so it looked like the horse was running away. And I stuck my head out the side and just kind of drove along, and I kept steering the horse right on the edge of the ditch. And the horse wasn't going very fast.
Okay, so to the kids, it looked like there was no one in the buggy.
Yeah, it looked like the horse
was
it was an
running away.
open cart. Usually you could see whoever was sitting on it. And all of a sudden the horse starts acting weird, like, I wonder if somebody sees this. And they came out and they caught the horse. And they were like, what happened? And then I just stood up like, oh, is there something wrong? And then they realized they'd been had, like, oh, like, you goofy guy.
It would be just phenomenal if you could figure out how your dad built these buggies and build one.
You know what? I have a photographic memory. If I would build a buggy from memory, I'll bet you it would be within 85% exactly the way my dad built it. It would be really, really cool.
You have a photographic memory of the buggies, right?
Yeah.
Because you saw them so many times. That's amazing, yeah. Because I was thinking you don't always have a photographic memory.
This is the time of year that my dad would be busy building the buggies in the wintertime. He didn't have a spray booth. On the farm we lived at, he had a 24 by 40 shop. It was a 3-car garage that he had converted into his shop. And he had one bay where he had kind of a ramp built out. And he would wait until it was a warm enough day, hopefully above freezing for a couple hours, and he'd roll that thing out and he'd spray it. The front end of the shop there, that one door, the one bay was all kind of had this black film. Another memory I have on the farm is my brother Eli was an avid hunter, and he did woodworking for a lot of years until he couldn't take the dust anymore. He was having lung issues, so they started up a different business. They have a bulk food store now.
What is the name of their bulk food store?
The Essachplatz.
The Essachplatz.
He's an Amish bishop. Anyway, I'm guessing he was 17, 18. He was reading these books on how to make primitive archery.
Primitive archery.
Primitive archery. And even though he had a compound bow, he got a hold of some straight grain redwood, and he cut them into strips, figured out how to round the edges, made a bunch of arrows with them, made his broadheads, used, was it turkey or goose feathers for the fletching? He used the sinew of an animal to adhere it.
Oh, wow.
And he made the arrows, but he tried to make a few bows, and then he read up how he needs to do it correctly. So he went back to the woods and got an ash tree. Went out in the woods and got an ash tree, probably 10 inches in diameter. And he split that thing 6 ways with a chainsaw and put it up in the horse barn to dry. So he had these pie-shaped pieces. Dry 2-3 years. Well, in the meantime, he started dating, got married, life hit, diaper duty kicked in. The farm got sold, and those things still sat up there. About 3 years ago, they were out visiting us. And I asked him, you think those things are still up there? And then he proceeded to tell the story how his second son kind of followed his footsteps, took interest in traditional archery. So they went back to the farm. They kind of knew the people and asked them, kind of told them what happened. Is there any chance those things would be up there? They went out and looked. They were still up in the barn. He put those up there, I think, in 91 or 92. And about in 22 or 23, if I remember right.
Okay.
They got them. His son made a couple of bows and went out and harvested a deer with that.
Wow, that is amazing.
Phenomenal story.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. This is our midweek chat, and we hope you enjoyed this content. Give us a like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Yes. Thank you for joining us.